This is my favorite part. Okay, Trent has a bunny.
Well, okay, hold on.
Yep. Show us the bunny. Tell us the bunny story. What's happening here?
Jamie, that was also the pants check to make
This
sure
is
he was wearing
Donut.
pants.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
For what's his
Donut.
name?
Donut. My daughter,
Donut.
named her Donut.
Okay.
We have another bunny outside, but they're not friends yet. So, we're.
Is it how it works? They're not automatically friends?
No, yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Oh.
I think they're both guys, but I don't think that one's actually a guy. So I think there was some romantic interest that was taken as aggression. So we decided to split them up for a little bit,
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
just in case.
Okay, how do you become like a bunny pet person?
You go to a farm store with $10 and you become a bunny person, and that's basically all it takes.
Did you grow up with bunnies? I just like what was
No.
the moment where you're like, yeah, I'm a bunny guy.
I never decided to become a bunny guy. It was my 30th, I think, birthday a few years ago,
Okay.
and there was 2 bunnies that were surprise given to me as gifts that my kids were really excited about that I was very against.
Your kids were like, it's your birthday, so we're getting bunnies.
We're getting bunnies, yeah.
Oh man. Okay. I see.
So anyway, some have not made it,
Oh,
unfortunately.
this
but
is
they're-
a new round of bunnies.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the one outside is a survivor. I can see him right now. He's just hanging out in the shade. So
Are you in Houston?
Mhm.
Okay. So it's the
So this is a free range bunny.
It's a free range bunny. We have a doggy door, so it goes in and out of the doggy door.
Really?
It comes inside at its leisure, and then it goes outside for the day to run around and frolic in the grass.
Okay. Oh,
I know. There you go. We have a new hawk in the backyard, so he's been kind of laying low. The bunny. He usually runs and jumps, but now that there's a hawk around, he's relaxed a little bit. So
wow. Okay. There's a predator.
There's a predator now. Yeah. Other than my children. Before with the other bunnies, the predator was the children, unfortunately.
Okay.
But now with this one, it's a hawk. So
Okay. We can't show this to my 12-year-old. She wants all animals. We have 2 dogs already, which is a lot of work. Yeah, she for sure wants bunnies.
Yeah, I should have saved the cleaning of the bunny for now, so you could see how much work it is. But that showed how your 12-year-old about how much poop you clean up after a bunny.
Okay, great. Kurt's still processing.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of like the potential horror of that hawk and that bunny and the kids coming home to nature.
And how laissez-faire Trent seems to be about this. He's like, yep, there's a hawk. And the
I
bunny.
think he wants the hawk to win this one. I think
natural
that's what
selection. Are we?
Kurt's finally on it. I never chose the life of these bunnies. They were gifted to me, and I will gift them to a hawk as a surprise birthday party for that hawk.
Let's see how the therapy sessions go for your kids when that happens. Okay, Trent, thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Trent, have we met in person?
I think maybe once before.
At a conference, maybe? Okay, cool. I looked at your LinkedIn. I was like, I mean, this is pretty incredible. The industry is still young enough that it's not often we run into somebody who's been Common Desk, very industrious, Hines. I mean, that is a resume. You are in. You can't get out. I don't even know what you would do now. Sometimes I have this thought in my own brain. Kurt has transferable skills. No, I'm kidding. So do you. I may not. I might be stuck here forever. Okay. So you're in Houston, but were you so you started at Common Desk, like.
Yeah, I did. So
was that in Houston? No, Plano.
That was in Dallas. Yeah.
Okay.
So graduated college, and then funny enough, my first job out of college was a youth pastor, like an associate youth pastor. So kind of like a not serious one, kind of like a half-assed version of a youth pastor. And I
like your bunny ownership. Not all. Exactly. Okay.
I swear, if I could go back and do any job, it would be playing basketball with like high school kids and hanging out with them and walking them through their most important stages of life. Like the coolest job ever. If I had all the money in the world, I'd just go back and do that, and the influence you get to have and the relationships you make and things like that. But so that was really fun. And then I had a friend of a friend, worked for Common Desk, and they were at a growth period. They were going from 2 to 3 locations. They were opening up a location with Granite Properties, which is
So you got in at that? Yeah. I remember who's the guy, who's the asset owner, who was the guy that Nick did that deal with? Do you remember his name?
so with Granite Properties, his name was Ace Roman, was kind of one of the leader
Wait,
guys.
there was
but,
another guy, because I remember him sitting on stage with Nick at the conference being like, let's see if he can scale this yogurt stand.
Yeah. I forget the old CEO's name. I
Yeah.
don't think it's anymore.
Okay.
But it was probably him. So so we launched that location, and it was like one of the first management agreements between maybe like a modern day co-working operator and
Yeah.
a landlord like that. And so I was the community manager there. And so
That was a great space. I've been in it. You have those beautiful booths with the big C and the D and the
big seat at the front. Yep. So I was looking at it actually today. I was looking at old pictures on my phone where there was like nothing in that space. And we had to like blow a hole in to make the stairway up to the second floor and all the emptiness of the offices. And so the kind of infamous story of that location was that we got to 100% in 60 days, which was incredible. And so, I think looking
you
back,
thought this is normal. This is how it goes.
yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think looking back, we kind of thought like we're just really good at our jobs and we're all amazing. But, I think that the truth that was there that is even more, evident today is just how popular suburb locations were. And that was one of the first suburb locations up in North Plano, Frisco area, which had just been an absolute boom.
Totally. And such a cool, it's near that like super walkable. I mean, now there's a WeWork there. There's all sorts of stuff there. I remember going there with Mara and I was like, I think I want to move here. What?
Yeah.
There's like, it's amazing. There's so much live music, restaurants, like also for a suburb. It's super cool.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, great location.
And there was 2 WeWorks within a baseball throw. There was an Industrious right there. And then some maybe more old school competitors were all around the area. But it blew up and it was really popular. And, there's a lot of Fortune 500 companies up in Plano. And there's a lot of people, they didn't want space at Common Desk, but a lot of people who worked with those companies wanted space, right? They wanted the proximity to Toyota and JCPenney and Cinemark and Dr. Pepper, Snapple, whatever they're called. And that kind of Keurig, Dr. Pepper Keurig. And so that helped us fill up really fast. And so we went from there and kind of, hey, proof is in the pudding. We did it. And we continued to launch more locations under that management agreement style. And the team continued to grow. And so after I did that for a little bit being a community manager, it was time to say, hey, is there any other opportunities here? And so I started leading our sales efforts with all of our locations that were open. And so
this is the great thing about startups. Trent, you want to do sales? Go do sales.
But yeah, the best and worst part of that was I don't think we actually drew straws, but it felt like we drew straws to who's going to help build out the sales force. And all of us were like, what Salesforce? And like, well, Trent does sales, and that's like half of Salesforce. So Trent's going to help build out Salesforce.
Oh, you mean build out the software?
Yeah.
You had to do like,
the back sales process.
brutal.
I was like, I guess I'll try to get a certification and figure it out. And so luckily we were able to, we had enough money to hire a company who actually does that. But I was, on calls with them and they're like, how do you want your lead flow to look? And I was like, what's a lead flow? I don't know. How do I want
I want a lot of them and I want them to close fast.
Yeah, I want a lot of leads and all of them to close, right? So
I think back.
yeah, it's funny. And I hopefully a lot of people in this industry can say this, but you look back at things that were challenging and then look at the position you're in now. And it's like, man, I would not have the job I had now if it wasn't for getting the short straw on how to build out sales.
Student Salesforce implementation.
Yeah. Right, exactly. And so we started to fill up the space. COVID came, it was time for me to leave. And I made my way. I called up Adam Middleton, who gave me a chance at Very. He was an old colleague or an old friend, and he got me a job at Very. And I left Common Desk right before COVID, and I was like, I'll take a month or two off, hang out with the kid. I have 2 kids, and take some time off. And it was like
month or two or 24.
Like, yeah, like 2020 is my year. Let's take some time off. And then COVID hit, and I was like, oh, what are you gonna do? And so I called up Adam, and obviously no co-working companies were hiring then. And so I decided, hey, I'm gonna go just do sales. And so I took a maybe more entry level sales job, during COVID and thought, I'll get in and kick ass and move my way up. But you get in and it was COVID, no one was really buying anything. And there's a big work from home movement. And what does that mean for selling office furniture and office buildings, right? But again, I had a great manager, Tyler Vaughn at Very, and he was really good at his job and brought me under his wing. And I learned a lot about, sales cadences and how to be a pest without feeling like a pest. And again, like wouldn't be at my job today if it wasn't for trying to cold call sell electric sit stand desks for a year at Very. So
During the pandemic, when people were
during the
like,
pandemic.
call me later, Trent.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Call me later when I can open my space back up. I mean, you were in Texas. So I always said, like, meanwhile, in Texas, people are.
Oh yeah, we were back in the office in like May, like it was like
Yeah.
2 months later, and it was like, wear a mask when you go to the bathroom. I guess.
Yeah.
No, it's like no one cared. No, they cared. They took it, they took it very seriously,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of rules and things like that while we were there. But I remember someone on our team got COVID, and we were like, we all sat in groups of 8, like a cubicle kind of. And the 8 of us got 2 weeks work from home. We're like, it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
I hope our friend is okay, but also
That's right. Did you rotate through? Each one of you called in?
yeah, exactly.
For 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You're not gonna
Right.
believe it. I hung out with Jeff, and guess what happened?
Did you know that Kurt has a degree in sales?
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm not. So he's above me.
totally.
The classroom cannot prepare you for cold calling in a pandemic, though. So I think
Right. For sure.
Nothing can. I think the only thing that motivated me through that was coming home to the kids, starving. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
Hey, but it was like, no, but it really
your
was.
daughter's grilling up a rabbit.
Yeah, exactly. Just grilling rabbits up on the grill. I was like, I caught this. This is all we have. One day we'll have it as a pet, though. It's fine. Like, we'll make it out of this.
Daddy, we can have donut for dinner.
Yeah. So yeah, no, there's a lot of motivations going on during that time to just, hey, put your head down and work hard and see what, money you can make. And so all that to say though, we decided I have family in Houston and it was time to come home. So I started looking for opportunities in the Houston area, and Industrious was hiring in downtown Houston, and thought it was a good opportunity to make my way back to have a free babysitter and my mother and father. And, that was one of the, just being back in Houston was one of the lead, like, hey, I love Very and, but it might be time to see if I can get back into co-working. And so I worked for Industrious, I think for 2 months. It might have been like a month and a half. And they managed a location on behalf of Hines at a building in downtown Houston. And there was a transition that took place after I arrived, of Hines bringing that location in-house. And so I decided to come along board with the Hines team. And that was how I found my way to Hines about a little over 3 years ago.
Okay. That's your expedited path through
That's
the
my
entire
expedited path.
co-working stack of.
Yep.
Yeah, love it. Was that location the first Industrious location in Houston, or did they have other independent locations?
It was. They had a Tech Space, which is a brand that they own out.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yep. Yeah, so they had one of those there. I'm not sure which one technically opened first, but the 717 location, it was already open when I took over as a manager there for the 2 months, and it opened actually, I believe it was like March 12th, 2020. So it opened up the week before. I think the governor at the time, Governor Abbott, whoever it was, came on and was like, all right, no groups over 20, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Fine, it's, the story is that they had the grand opening party, and it was like, all right, see you in a couple weeks. We're going to go wear a mask for a little bit. And then kind of the rest is history. And so it was not a very well performing location. And so, we came in and took it over as Hines and started doing things a little bit different and made it profitable, which is always good.
I think that's actually a good point just to highlight, because I was involved before and after Heinz involvement, and I did see an uptick in total services consumed. I mean, how did you do it?
A lot of luck. I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. I think Houston's a market, Salt Lake City, for example, we have another location there, is another example. There's some of these markets where it's just really who you know, and it's a lot of grassroots marketing. And I think sometimes some of these larger brands can do more of a national marketing strategy, right? Where it may not be, hey, we're going to call these brokers in Salt Lake City that we knew from a friend from college. It's not a lot of that, but I mean, Hines is, it's twofold. We had our own connections in Houston. I was born and raised in the Houston area, and so I had a number of connections there. But also the Hines name is just able to go really far when it comes with broker houses. And so I would definitely say that was a huge success story, especially once we opened our second location in Houston at Texas Tower, was leveraging the brokerage community relationship we had as a team, but as well as being able to email and say, hey, this is Hines's in-house co-working space, right? And that definitely opened a lot of doors.
So how much of the business that you are doing today is via broker versus personal relationship?
Yeah, so if I were to break it into like two categories, so we, what we would call like an exec, or a suite versus like a private office, right? So private office being 1 to 10 people, let's say, and a suite being 11 plus. Maybe it has a kitchen or an office inside of it, whatever. For the offices, probably 80% is going to just be your normal marketing channels, maybe a marketplace listing, someone comes in for a tour off the street, Google, LinkedIn, whatever it might be, those type of normal lead channels, where 20% might be broker, with the caveat that a lot of those broker deals on offices are more temporary. Hey, our construction delayed 4 months.
Yeah.
Do you have something we can camp in for 4 months? And it's like, well, you're not going to like it because everyone has to share an office, but we have this. Where the enterprise deals, or sorry, the suite deals, enterprise suites, whatever you would call them. It might be the complete inverse. 80% of those are broker deals, and 20% of those, I think maybe 1 or 2 that we've had come in, like found us on Google, and it was like, a Fortune 1000 company that just happened to find us on a Google ad, and you're like, why are you Googling? You have a real estate team, like
Right.
now. And funny enough, one of our, I won't call them out, but one of our clients, they kind of famously told us, they're like, look, like, we don't want this to be a lease because then we have to involve our real estate team, and we have a budget and we have our own, like, we just want to do this. Could we just sign an agreement and move forward? And we were like, sure, of course, like if that's what you want, that's what we'll do. Obviously we didn't want to, piss off any brokers if there was anything to do that. And so we made sure we were clean on all that front. But you do have some of these enterprise teams where they don't want to take the long journey with all the red tape and everything to get an office signed. They'd rather just be this quick agreement they can sign and move in tomorrow, right?
I'm curious, the Common Desk product mix, I'm assuming, was heavier on offices versus suites, but is that right? Or
Yeah, so it definitely was. So when we built the Plano location in I guess it was 2016, when we opened that location, we didn't have any suites. We had offices. The largest one was an 11 person.
Okay.
We had a residential real estate company take that one out of Seattle, and it was like the biggest team ever. We have like an 11 team. This is crazy, like it was just so different. And then one of our fun stories that we would tell, one of many fun stories we could tell about Common Desk, but we had 3 guys come in the tour, and they said they're at WeWork across the street, and it had to be like the worst tour I ever gave. But because I didn't like ask them who they were with or anything, right? I'm just okay, great. Like, I just made coffee and I cleaned up a mess, and now I'm giving you a tour, I guess, So I walked the 3 guys around, and they're like, look, we're at WeWork across the street. We're gonna have like a 50-person team. Like, what can we do? And we had this like probably horribly designed area we didn't really know what to do with. And there was a few offices and just really big dedicated desk area, but it was kind of ugly, a few booths. And on the tour, like, kind of just made up the idea, hey, if we added a wall and a door here, could you just take this?
all yours.
Yeah, it's all yours, right? And they're like, yeah, that might work. We have to look at pricing, whatever. So then I'm like, okay, well, let me get your business card, right? Like, let me get an email so I can actually email you after this tour. And they handed me an email, and it was Walmart, and like Fortune 1 company looking for office space. And I was still new in co-working. I was like, oh, Walmart, I shop there. It's like, I don't have a lot of money. I go to groceries there, right? And I give it to Nick, and Nick is like, this is the white whale, And so we ended up bringing in them as like our anchor client, and built another suite for them. And I think that really did start to influence how some of our spaces from there, hey, like, there are enterprise, there are Fortune 1 companies looking for co-working space like this. And they don't want 10 offices right next door to each other. They want their own private suite, So I think that was maybe a little before its time on the suites, but it definitely opened the door to, where we're at today.
So how did you, going from that, where you probably weren't working very much with brokers, like, was that like a Hines cultural, like, this is what we do, we sell through brokers, or how did you figure that out? The broker community is really challenging in a lot of markets because if they don't have access to product like yours,
right?
They don't, or just a lot of them, like, just don't think of co-working.
Yeah. luckily Nick came from that
Yeah.
background in real estate. And so he was really adamant on like, hey, this is
And those relationships.
spec, and these are great relationships to have. And so we did that with Common Desk in Dallas across a lot of locations. And that was something where at the time, some of our competitors weren't being as friendly with brokers. And so it was really easy to be like, we're the local guys, we'll take care of you, you know. And that was just something that was kind of distilled in me there, and going, you know, obviously Hines is in no position to ever try to box out any sort of broker. And so that was just an easy
Right.
out. And once we came over to Hines, right, that it was like, hey, this is just, you pay the fee and this is what you do. And it's always their relationship. And this is how you make money.
Thinking back on, I guess, your illustrious career at this point,
Yeah. Okay.
you talked about your favorite deal, which I would imagine would be Walmart. What's been the most disastrous?
Ooh.
I'll share lightly on this one because I want to get in trouble. But a lot of these locations that we have, Hines is an owner of these buildings, but there's other ownership groups. There, very rarely is Hines owns 100% of a building. They own it on behalf of someone else. One of my biggest deals that we ever did was at a location where we essentially sold 100% of the location for 4 years. So by a mile, the biggest deal that I've ever been a part of. The sales cycle is about 10 months long. We went to bat with a lot of great competitors in this market. And one of the parts of the ownership group, once they moved in, said, actually, we want you to kick them out. And so we were able, I know. So luckily we were able to retain them in a Hines building with a different ownership group. And it, fast forward to the day, everything's great. In that market, we have a location that we're kind of reselling and re-engaging with. And, it's kind of all water under the bridge by this point. But it was depressing. Well, it was exhilarating in my sales force when I won that deal and all my sales metrics were just jacked up. And then I went back and edited it. So sad.
That's the worst.
But that was definitely a disaster in the sense. Maybe another example, and this happens all the time, but I think coworking is so about hospitality and you just never want to do anything wrong. I remember the first big team that moved in at one of our common desks, we had to tell them we're going to be 2 months delayed, and they had to it was just a mess and it was horrible. And I remember being on all these calls and getting chewed out and all these things, and you're just like, this, I'm the worst person in the world. You're like, I had to get bad news. And you just you're just so hospitality driven that you forget, hey, these things happen and it's okay. It's not a big deal. Right. And I remember in the moment feeling like that was the worst thing that had ever happened to me at work. But looking back, it's like, oh,
Nothing.
we're delayed all the time. We'll give you free rent. Who cares? You'll be fine. So
That was the worst day so far.
So far. Yeah. My worst day so far.
Hines Square is now in how many cities? 10 cities?
No, and not yet. So we are in Salt Lake City, Houston, Mexico City, Washington, D.C., and then as of yesterday, New York City. We opened up our New York City location yesterday.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Apologize. 10 locations. But anyway.
Yeah. So we're getting there. We have, I think to date, we're at 8, and we have, another 2 in the pipeline to come. But
You're getting there.
So
Wait, Kurt.
in those markets, obviously there's competition. What are some things that you're doing to help differentiate the product you're putting out from everyone else?
Yeah. So, it can depend a little bit on the market. Salt Lake City, for example, is a really hard market because there's a lot of good competitors. And I do not shy away from saying, hey, I'm not the best. And so Salt Lake City, there are some really good homegrown competitors. And it is hard to come in and say, hey, we're a real estate company from a different state and we can do things the best and hire the best people. And, I think sometimes those local brands do really, a good job. Now, something that we can leverage in a lot of different markets is, the Hines name when it comes to, hey, we own this building. And so if your team is growing, this speaks volumes in a brokerage community, but if you have a client that's new to the market, they want to start with 10 desks, but you're trying to get a bigger payday by having them move into a 7-year spec suite or a traditional lease. The building we're in is a Class A building in all of our portfolio, all of our square locations. And so come on in and we'll start shopping space upstairs, and you'll have your big payday as a broker, and your client will be happy because it's an easy transition into the market. And so, they don't have to get new parking. They don't have to learn a new building, new amenities, new lunches and spots nearby. That at the end of the day is definitely one of the bigger selling points that we're able to do in markets like Salt Lake City, Houston, Mexico City, especially. DC, that building's pretty full, so we can't really do that sales pitch there. And then New York City, we have really good competition that already does that. You have companies like Brookfield and Tishman Speyer who are a few years ahead of the curve of, hey, we have co-working and spec suites and buildings that we own, right? And so we're maybe not as unique of that in New York City when it comes to like a competition standpoint, but to a lot of our competitors, that's still definitely, unique.
I agree.
Whew, I passed.
You totally passed. Wait, Kurt, I have to out you. We'll edit this if I'm wrong, but Hines uses a census.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hines
that's
does use a
maybe-
census.
Yeah. So that's why I felt bad because we're doing a kitchen update. I can't really get water right now. So I couldn't fill my big census cup.
I don't have
Yeah.
one. I have to drink my poor Lala.
Bert, what's happening?
I think he's earned one after his performance today. I think he's doing great.
He is doing great.
I don't need any more water bottles. I don't need someone's house.
That one's a Stanley.
Throw away
That's a
100 of
Stanley.
them.
Yeah.
I think I actually asked Trent
Oh,
this in the
and
past.
Trent
Do
was like, "I'll
you
pass."
want one? He's like,
do not give me a water bottle. I do not want it. I will throw it in the trash.
Yeah, we have a 1 in, 1 out policy on like the
That's
bike
good.
water bottles now.
Yeah,
My
that's
husband's a biker, and I'm like, you're kidding? Where am I putting this? Yeah, no more. Yeah, but we're taking Stanley's for sure. Thank you, Kurt. Yeah.
you're very welcome. Yeah, it's been awesome working with Hines, especially since I started the conversation with the team, the Office of Innovation. That's how long ago this was. The Hines Office of Innovation back in 2017, 2018. And they're kind of kicking the tires of what the solutions will be. And I went through this whole big pitch process and presentation to Paige Pitcher. Shout out to Paige. And it's like, yeah, we're going to go a different direction. Lo and behold, they opened up these kind of learning sites with Convene and Industrious. And it was like the trial locations to what eventually got spun out into being the Square. So it's been a wild ride. So Trent, from your highs and lows of a salesperson, it's been a roller coaster, but fun.
Yeah, well, and so funny story about that. So I think it was Good Friday. It had to be. It was a Friday where a co-working space should just be absolutely dead. And this was up in Plano at Common Desk, and we were using Slack, and we had a Slack message that was like, every single person that's in an office today, go to the Plano location right now. We have a tour that's coming through, and that space has to be alive. And we're like, it's Good Friday. No one is in the space. And it was like, text your husbands, your wives, your grandmas. I don't give a shit. Like, fill up the space. We need people there. And it was like, we were all like, why? And it's like, well, there's this real estate firm out of Houston, Texas. This was like 2018, 2017. And they flew up to Dallas today, and they're trying to find a partner for their co-working brand, and they're considering Common Desk. It's the Hines family. So Jeff Hines will be coming up to that Plano location. Jeff Hines will be coming up to this location, touring through the space. And we were all like, ketchup company? Like, like we all had no idea. Like, we were like, no, it's like, so we can send them or should keep them on, like, what are we supposed to do with this? But that was, like Kurt's saying, that was when they were looking like, hey, who we're going to partner with and who can we open spaces with? And
obviously you didn't space enough mojo because you didn't get that one.
Apparently I wasn't charming enough on that tour to convince them of our underwriting. The best I could do, so.
Wait, can we go back a minute to your tour days? And I love your like, I just cleaned up, I made coffee, cleaned up the spill in the kitchen. And it's funny because with the sales process, I talk to operators sometimes about sales process, and they'll be like, yeah, well, we have one, but the team, we follow it sometimes, like they kind of know it, but they're not following all of the like, put it into the CRM or whatever it is. I'm like, yeah, I mean, because of this, right? If you don't have a dedicated sales team who's not also making coffee and anyway, what was your like? What if you gave a tour and you just killed it? Like, what did you do on that tour?
So I will check with Kurt to see if this would pass his business classes on his sales degree. I think the best sales is obviously consulting strategy, right? And so I think the best tours that we were able to give are the ones where we had the people talk the most, and
like
that was like a date. I mean, if I could write a book, it would be about how sales is dating. And there's definitely, I mean, dating's a great example. So, like if you're going on a first date with someone, like you don't want to talk more than them. You don't want to come across like I'm so interesting and I have everything to offer here and I'm the best. Like you want that date to be like, I think people are very simple. And if someone talks more, generally speaking, they feel as if that interaction with that person was better if they got to talk more. And so that's a big thing that when I do tour trainings with our managers now is, hey, the scale should be tipped to them talking more than you. And that's the goal, right? And so it's asking questions. We do like a who, what, where, when, why, how when people walk in. Who are you? What's your job title? What do you do for work? Where are you officing now? I mean, all these questions that are like just building the case to completely understand exactly what they need. And I tell managers, this is twofold. Hey, we pay a lot of money in marketing to get someone to show up for a tour, so don't mess it up. But B, you could ask all those questions and then realize we are not a good fit for you. And that's okay. I mean, every single person that walks in that door isn't going to be a good fit. And I found, tenfold that if you're just honest with people about that, you tell them, hey, look, we're on the more expensive side. And it sounds like right now you're in a startup phase. If you're budget conscious, we might not be a good fit today. But in a year, when you've landed 10 clients for your new marketing that you just told me about, that sounds amazing. I hope you think of us again and call us back. And those people come back. They remember you because you're honest with them and you weren't just trying to squeeze money out of them, right? And so I think that the best tours that anyone can give are just ones where they're listening more than they're talking.
What percentage of tours do you expect to close?
100%. No, I think it's a good question. I think in our heyday or my heyday, like we could expect over 50% could close if people came in tour. Now, I think most people are touring more than 2 places if they're looking at space. And so I think realistically, like if I don't think any operator should expect that they should ever close 50% of people who come in and tour their space. But in the 30 to 40s, I mean, I think that's a really healthy place to be. I don't pay too much attention to the data on like specific locations and things like that. The big thing that I really focus on is, hey, are we getting qualified leads? When we have form fills, are they the right people? Or
Yeah.
if we get them in the door, they fall in love with us. That's fine, right? It's the making sure that we're like swiping left or swiping right. I'm not on online dating. I don't know which one is good, but making sure we're like swiping the correct way to get the right person on the first date.
Yeah.
And then once we're on the first date, we're charming as hell. We're fine, right? It's just getting to the first date is where I put a lot of the emphasis on.
We're really squeezing the juice out of this dating analogy, and I like it.
I can keep going. I mean, I can write a book on this about how dating and sales are just 2 peas in a pod.
I would like somebody to write a book about co-working sales
And dating?
and dating. Yeah.
Do that. Yeah, co-working sales and dating.
Yeah.
It's more than beer on tap. That would be the subline.
The tagline. Okay.
More than beer on tap.
So Trent, serious question. In your book on dating, who would write the forward?
Oh, this is probably someone with a degree in sales, I would think.
It's what I was angling for, Jamie.
Yeah. I like it. That's my favorite fun fact about Kurt. I was like, what do you mean a whole degree and his wife? Same, right?
Yeah. Yes, it does. See, my major was music though. Minor professional sales. Gelsey's Gelsey's major was sales. But guess who's still in sales?
I mean, well, I'll see if Ryan Reynolds is first, just because it's Ryan Reynolds. But if he's not available, Kirkpatrick is a great backup.
A good backup. Let's see.
Hold on. I'm going to be Gio. Also, we didn't address this. Kurt is guest hosting. Gio is in Iceland.
Yeah.
As he does. He's adventuring in Iceland. He sent me some photos. Kurt, you probably got some.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I've been to Iceland, but not since 2002. Been a while. Yeah.
I like how Trent didn't even question it. He's like, "Oh, of course, Kurt's interviewing me." Like he just rolled with the punches.
Yeah, totally. He didn't even. He's not like, "Why is this guy here?" Trent, we know about Donut. Tell us about your kids.
Yeah, so I have 2 kids, Blakely and Everett, and so Blakely just started first grade, Everett's in daycare still, his last day daycare, and they're the best. I mean, everyone says that, but they're in a really fun phase right now. Blakely is like playing, 6-year-old daughter is like all about playing house and dolls. And it's just like walking by her bedroom when her friends are over and like listening to what they're saying. You're like, oh no. Well, first of all, oh no, because they're like, you know what I mean? It's like, did you pay the water bill? You're like, oh God, they're listening to me.
Everything. It's terrifying.
Yeah, it's
Totally.
terrifying. Like the interactions they listen to as you as an adult with other adults, right? So that's definitely terrifying. And then Everett is like miniature me. I got him on a skateboard. I got him playing Legos. Like he is just a classic little boy. And I'd probably, it's hard to think of anyone that's funnier than like a 4-year-old boy, because I think all their stories you can like interchange with like my drunk college friend, right? Like you could tell a story. I could tell a story about Everett and I'd be like, we like walked home from the restaurant and I thought I lost him and I looked out and his pants were at his legs, his ankles, and he was just peeing on a light pole. And you're like, all right, was that John in freshman year in college drunk, or was that Everett as a 4-year-old? You're like, I don't know. It could have been either one. And so Everett's, he's hilarious.
Beautifully put.
Yeah.
To continue in the spirit of Geo, I'll ask another off-topic question.
Mm-hmm.
As a man who watches a lot of sports, there's commercials in between them.
Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite commercial? And for extra points, if it has a jingle, please perform that jingle for us.
I don't know if I know the jingle. I'll give a hometown answer. It's probably any commercial with Mattress Mac. Do y'all know who Mattress Mac is?
You taught me about Mattress Mac. Jamie, are you aware?
No, I don't
So
know.
he's worth a Google search. He's one of the greatest Houstonians, and so he owns a furniture store, and now there's a bunch of furniture stores, and it's Gallery Furniture. It's like one of the best furniture stores in Houston. But through hurricanes, through a lot of things like that, he's very infamously has given out furniture. He lets people stay in furniture stores. He's just like, I take care of the Houston city area, and I care about the city more than anyone else in the world. So. And he's getting old, so his commercials he's not on them as more, but he's just like a good, charming reminder of just how great the city of Houston is. But it's not a jingle, but his catchphrase is Gallery Furniture saves you money. And he's been doing that since like the 80s, is Gallery Furniture saves you money. But look him up, seriously. One of his more nationwide things is that he gambles on the Astros heavily. And, he has won like millions and millions of dollars gambling on the Astros. And so I won't take you to the living room because the house is a little bit messy, but I have a couch in my living room that Mattress Mac had a bet with people who buy in couches that like, if the Astros win the World Series, anything you buy up to this dollar amount is free. And if they lose, you pay for it. So my $4,000 couch in my living room, I paid $0 for, because in 2021, I guess, the Astros won the World Series.
And Trent, how did
the
they
World
win that
Series. So high stakes. We're not talking about.
It wasn't 20,000. Yeah, it wasn't 2017 World Series. It was 2021 or whatever the good one was. Although, look, I would hit a trash can with a bat if I was getting a couch for free. So let's relax on the 2017 World Series, Kurt. But anyway,
to quell Jamie's confusion, the Houston Astros cheated to win the World Series
In 2017.
To get to the World Series, not to win.
To get to the World Series,
anyway,
they beat the Yankees to get there. So there's little salt.
They would bang a trash can with a bat as like a means to know what pitch was coming, essentially. And so it's a trash can reference. But again, if I get something free out of it, I don't know, maybe I'm cheap, but
okay. $4,000, you bought a nice couch. You were really betting on the Astros to win yourself.
The Gallery Furniture is pretty expensive. But
so you bought. Wait, did you buy it and he refunded it when they won?
Yeah. So it was right when I bought this house. I went into the store and as a salesperson, sales guy comes up to you or gal, and what's the first thing you tell them? Like, I'm not buying anything today. Don't give me the whole spiel. Yeah. Don't give me whatever. And they were like, well, I hear you, but you're like, okay, fine. What's the but? They're like, if you buy this couch today before the last game of the World Series tonight and the Astros win or whatever, you get it for free. And I was like, I will wire the money right now, because like they were third. It was something where it was like, they're going to win. It was an insane bet. But he basically, he takes all that money that he is losing on that and he goes and gambles it in Vegas. And so he makes it all back and he wins the business. Right. So he's basically just like hedging all his bets for Vegas with furniture sales. And it's probably like maybe sketchy, but it's not. It's legal. So there you go.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So anyway, all very long-winded answer is saying probably a Mattress Mac commercial. It definitely was not the Wingstop commercials during the NBA finals because those were like every commercial break, there was a Wingstop commercial and it was the same one. And it was like, could they have a second one? Does it have to be
Right.
the exact same commercial every single commercial break? No one else is paying for ads. But anyway, I digress.
We are just out of watching the Olympics. The closing ceremony was over the weekend, and my wife and I were just thoroughly into it, plugged into the Olympics. It was great. But as an output of that, we had not been watching network TV in a long time. So we've totally not been aware of this commercial for Jardiance.
I don't watch network TV.
Well, I know everything about this diabetes A1C lowering medicine because of this fantastic commercial that I encourage everyone to watch. But I caution you, it is an earworm. And I'm sitting here, I'm singing it to myself. Like it's a problem. It's a problem. But kudos to the marketing people at Jardiance.
They got
Or their agency. Yeah. I don't think I've watched a commercial since the Super Bowl.
Yeah, kids these days don't know how good they have it. Like anytime we've gone to a hotel or something and they're like, what's happening to TV? And I was like, it's a commercial. That's all it is. It's just not Netflix or Disney Plus.
Right.
And
skip it, Dad. Skip it.
Yeah.
like I never realized, you go to a hotel and watch Nickelodeon on TV or something. Like every commercial is a toy ad. And I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
I would pay $50 a month. Well, Netflix, don't listen. But I would pay $50 a month for Netflix with no commercials because I don't have to go buy any toys after these kids are like screaming, oh, we want this toy. I saw it on TV.
Yeah. Your kids are
I'm gonna
clueless
say
until you take them to
know.
Walmart or Target or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna ask. We're gonna move off of commercials back into co-working. You've
From
been doing
commercial to commercial real estate. Here we go.
totally commercials to commercial real estate. That's a nice transition. What are you most excited about in the industry?
So something that we're starting to do in New York that is really exciting is that we are trying to start selling spec suites that are in our portfolio and highly amenitize them, see if we can get them on lower term deals and, using essentially the same sales cycle and the same sales funnel that we use for the co-working space, right? So that's been really exciting. We already have some good opportunities up in New York City with that. There's some of these spec suites that are in these buildings, especially, in a market like New York where they've been maybe empty for a few years. And if you can come along and just put a little bit of money and a little bit of love into them and, convince an ownership group, hey, I know you want this term, but if we brought you this premium that, a client may be used to paying at WeWork or wherever they might be, there's still money to be made here. And so that's something that I think I'm probably the most excited about is how these enterprise clients who want their own floor, they want their own suite, but they want it on a 1 to 3 year deal and they want the coffee and the plants and the Wi-Fi and the furniture, everything like that. How could a team like ours at Hines position ourselves to be, a suitable solution for that, similar to a Tishman Speyer or Brookfield and what they're doing?
And there's enough
Frank, could you speak-
segmentation. Oh, sorry. We're excited about this. Kurt, you go. I'll hold.
Yeah. So, I've had a glimpse in working really closely with Hines over the years into this, but maybe could you just explain to Jamie and the audience your stance on hybrid leasing and how this fits into the overall strategy for Hines's hybrid leasing initiatives?
Yeah. So, we'll pivot off Kurt's background. So Kurt's background is the lobby of Texas Tower. It's a building in downtown Houston where Hines Central and their kind of their global headquarters sits. Up on the second floor of that building, there's a square. On 4 floors of that buildings, there's spec suites. And then the other, we'll call it 34, whatever floors are remaining are just traditional lease, right? And so, Hines is that's a great use case of that building, looking at it like a stack, right? And a stack vertical and that, hey, in the lobby, you have maybe co-working, you have a coffee shop, you have a bar, you have a lot of activity going on, you have events taking place. Up on the second floor, you have this co-working space where you can get in for $700 a month and you can have your address at this building. You can be here and be a part of it. And as you grow up to 5 seats, as you grow up to 10 seats, as you grow up to 20 seats, you can stay at the square on the second floor. And then from there, we have spec suites. You're still starting to grow and you want to still move up in the building. Hey, let's tear up our agreement. Let's tear up our lease down on the second floor and you can move into that spec suite. You're continuing to grow. Here we go. Right. And so looking at it from this top down approach and saying, hey, there's a lot of leads to be captured through spaces like this. And they fall in love with your building and they fall in love with the amenities and the staffing and the people that you have there. And, how can you kind of view your building as a kind of a one-stop shop for anyone's needs that they have? And so that's something that we're definitely doing in all of our locations. We'd probably have the most success with it at Texas Tower where Kurt's sitting in the lobby right now, but that would be kind of that stacking perspective that as we see it.
Got it. Yeah, Kurt, that was a perfect question because my question was around, segmentation. Like, how do you look at a customer and figure out, where do they go? And that's one of the biggest benefits you have. I mean, you kind of talked about that in the Salt Lake City example that, the average operator, to your point, there are a lot of local operators who do an amazing job, but if they don't have that integrated partnership with the landlord or the asset, like they just give up those customers, right? And so does the landlord effectively, probably because they're not staying in the building. And I mean, I love even just your points about like same parking, same gym access, same whatever. And okay, so those spec suites are pretty heavily serviced. Is that
Yeah,
so,
they can be, right? So I think this is this is if we're gonna have like the Wild West of I don't know what's going on and what does this look like? I think the amenities is kind of the biggest question mark because I think a lot of these clients that are looking to be in co-working, like the thing they really care about the most is the term. And that's like their number one. Hey, I just want a short term. Like I don't want to overpay for coffee. I don't want to overpay for plants. Furniture, internet, let's put those together too. Like term, furniture, internet, maybe those are the top 3. Like we want the infrastructure there so that we can theoretically move in tomorrow, but we also want to be able to move out in 2 years, not 10 years. And, send over some packages for plants and coffee and all the fun stuff, right? Because as the workforce is getting younger and you're having, sorry, I mean like that, as you have millennials starting to take places of decision makers in real estate, especially, it's like, hey, I want to sign up for this on my phone. I want to sign an agreement right here. I want to start tomorrow. I don't want to go hire someone. Like, that's not how this is going to roll, right? And so as you're having millennials who are used to, hey, I can take this right now, starting to be in positions of power, I think that's going to continue to mold more into, oh, you can do plants? Great. I don't care.
Yeah, you do it.
Hey,
nobody got time for that. Yeah.
No one has time for that. I'll overpay for it, right? But if I were to weigh it, like the majority, I think, of that decision process is just the term. Like that's like a heavy majority of the reason why some of these enterprise clients are looking at co-working operators. And not to be anti co-working because I come from a deep, rich history of co-working, but sometimes it's not as much about the community aspect and it's not as much about the events and the things that you're doing. It is a little bit more about the, hey, I want my private space that's set up, ready to go. I can move into, and there's security physically, there's IT security from a census, shout out. And there's really great furniture from whichever furniture vendor you're using, right? They'll still come to happy hours. They might come to some of the events that we're doing throughout the week, but it's a very different client than I'm a remote worker in New York City and I have no friends and I want to come and hang out with people in the co-working space, right? It's just 2 different clients.
I am curious, the spec suite client, do they not look at some of those amenities as a way to get their employees to show up? Or
I think a little bit, I think that's maybe becoming, and I'm trying to not to think of through like my Texas bias, but I think that's becoming maybe a little less relevant. Like I think some companies are kind of getting back to some of these larger Fortune 500 companies, like they have people coming back. You're coming in, that's what you're doing.
Showing up.
Yeah, totally. And we have some fun amenities, and it's like, we still want you to be comfortable at the office. We want you to enjoy the office. But some of these companies that are looking at spec suites, we had a lead for one the other day where they wanted basically 100 seats. And they're like, we have hundreds of employees in New York City, but we want 100 seats. And we're like, that's great. You were just at your office. How many people are there? 5. Oh, okay. And so I think that's still, it's like there's still comfort in like, hey, you want this space. You definitely don't want to sign up for 10 years, right? You want to do a year deal or whatever it is. But there are still companies that I think struggle to get people into the office. And yeah, I think, really nice amenities, events, things like that can be very attractive to having people come back to the office. But, I'm sitting at home today. Maybe there was free breakfast at the co-working space, but like I'm not going to drive 30 minutes for
Just
breakfast.
for,
I get eggs and bacon in my kitchen, right? So it's
but you
like
have donut. You're not lonely. I mean,
I have donut here,
yeah.
right? I have donut. I have the other bunny outside. I have company here, but anyway, it's that term is just really important with that spec suite. And then
Yeah.
the other challenging thing to figure out is pricing, right? There's a co-working standard for pricing when it comes to square foot, and there's a spec suite, pricing, and there's a lot of delta between here. And so I think that's really challenging to figure out as well is, hey, where do we put pricing? Because if you price it as co-working, I'm just going to take a spec suite. And if you price it down here, you're not going to make any money off of it. And so that can be really challenging as well.
And Kurt, did the census light up the buildings?
We do. So actually, Texas Tower is a great example. Also, all roads lead to the square, and we extend services as and when. So if a tenant was to give Trent a requirement to turn on a spec suite, he has it priced into his model that he can actually turn services on with the click of a button. So, and as they start to roll these out into different cities and different products, it's really cool to see Hines iterating on what those offerings are. So I can think of, and maybe I should pause there actually. But yeah, it's really cool seeing the product that Hines is putting out.
Yeah, I love the discussion. Okay, we have to wrap. Kurt, I have my last question. Do you have anything you want to ask before I pose that one?
Well, I think I might have performed your last question with Trent at some point at one of the conferences, but I am curious to see what he would say.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. Well, so yes. Okay. Well, we'll go with that one then. Either what's your karaoke song? We can go with that one. Is that your
Great?
Okay. What's your karaoke song?
Should I show you the video from a week ago when me and my friend went to karaoke?
Yes.
No, we're not going to do that. We don't have time. So I did 2 songs. One was earlier in the night, so you could assume it was maybe better performed, and the one that was in the later in the night maybe wasn't as good. The first one was "Friends in Low Places" by Garth Brooks, and I'm really big though on like going around the bar and putting the microphone in people's faces to get them to sing along. That's kind of my move. I'm not a good singer, so my move. I used to be a camp counselor for a little bit. I was doing elementary school fundraising. So it's all about like, you gotta own the room. You gotta read the crowd, finding the people, putting the microphone, low place. You gotta do it, right? So that one was really fun. The one I probably had the most fun with though was "Roses" by Outkast. You have to look it up because I'm not going to sing it.
Oh, okay. I was like,
it was like 7th or 8th grade. It was like one of those pivotal songs where I'm like, this is the greatest song in the eternity. Like this is the greatest song.
Yeah.
And "Roses" by Outkast. It was another fun crowd pleaser. Another good one.
Trent, what do roses really smell like?
Do you want the edited version or is this the uncensored podcast? And yeah, roses really smell like boo or poo hoo hoo. Is how the song. You just have to watch the video. You can't.
Okay.
I can't do it like in a normal tone. You just have to listen to music. "Roses" by Outkast.
Okay.
What song is Garth Brooks though?
What song did you two perform together?
Well, as one does during karaoke, we were drinking.
Yeah.
So I don't remember, but I'm pretty sure we've done karaoke.
I think together. Too, and I also could say it was probably a lovely duet.
It was awesome. Yes.
I'm sure. Okay. Are we gonna wait? Are you going to Phoenix?
I am. I'm looking forward to. Are you going to Phoenix, Trent?
I do not believe so, but if I am, I'll make sure to put karaoke. I'll get my Garth Brooks singing voice ready. I'll bring my Texas twang.
We're gonna have to find karaoke in Phoenix.
It has to exist.
It's got to exist. You're like, they have the internet, right? They know what karaoke is.
They know what it is. Yeah.
No, it's like the 5th largest city in America, I think now or something. But anyway,
is it? Houston's fighting Chicago, which always surprises me.
Yeah, greater Houston area.
The sprawl.
Yeah, the sprawl. Same with DFW. What's the
DFW?
Sprawl? Yeah. What do you count? But Phoenix is up there.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, Trent, thank you for taking the time to chat with us today. Kurt, thank you for co-hosting.
Happy to be here as a surprise guest.
I love it. Okay, until next time.
All right.